Hey everyone, it's Daniel here from etfs. Hope you're all doing well. So I want to do a video to talk about a concept of the haves and have-nots. That there's going to be a really big divide, and as this system continues and gets worse off, right? You're going to see a big gap between the rich, the poor. The wealth inequality gap is going to get larger and larger. Now, I don't say this to create a fear-mongering video. I'm not here to scare you and say, hey, you're going to live like this and be like this and things are going to get worse off. That's not my purpose of this video. My purpose of this video is to educate you, to get you ready for what is to come and to be prepared. To not be a worrier, be a warrior. Don't worry all the time, be a warrior, right? And if you're prepared, right, for the worst outcome, then you're not going to be scared, right? If you ever watched that the Eminem movie, 8 Mile, right? At the very end of his rap battle, he goes in, right? He basically goes, the way he won was he basically thought of all the negative things that his opponent would say to him, right? Basically, and he said it all, right? He went out and on the stage and said, all these things about him that were negative, which left the opponent speechless, and they simply couldn't say anything back in that rap battle, which, made him win. So same thing, the same concept. If you're prepared, and you're not scared, right? If you're prepared, you're going to be not scared for what the outcome's going to be. You're not going to have that much fear because you're simply prepared. Sure, things can go wrong. Sure, definitely get advice, get help, find registered financial planners, advisors, right? I'm not a financial advisor or planner or anything like that. I'm just a guy on a YouTube channel who looks at markets and studies macroeconomics and tries to tie them together, right? So these are just a simple man's view. But definitely you're entitled to your own opinions, your own views. But definitely, it's best to start getting in the mindset, in the frame to be prepared, right? So what do I mean by be prepared? Right? What does it mean when I say the haves versus the have-nots? So when you get a system like capitalism, like we're seeing right now, like we're living right now, what we've seen during COVID, during COVID, things really changed because you had, especially in the US, you had massive amounts of printing of money, which basically deteriorated the value of the dollar, caused inflation to skyrocket, caused asset prices to skyrocket, and today the result of all that, plus COVID, plus the supply chain disruption, is that you're living in a world with high inflation. Now, of course, down the road, we're going to see lower inflation. You're going to get, if you get a black swan event or you get a hard landing or whatnot, something really ugly happens in the economy, then sure, that's going to bring inflation down. But just look at the asset prices over the span of 10, 20, 30, 40, 50, 60, 70, 100 years. What do you see? You see that the prices go up. What do you see the stock market doing? The prices go up. Yes, there's swings. They go up and down. It's part of it. It's part of risk taking. People say investing is risky. I'm not gonna do that. I've even heard people who say that, hey, the governments are in this amount, X amount of debt, which will never cause me to invest in the markets because of how much debt they have. Well, guess what? It's risky to not invest. It's actually very bad to not be invested because you're becoming part of the have-nots. And that gap between the have and the have-nots are getting worse. Why is it getting worse, right? Why is it risky to not be invested? Because, like I said, look back at the graphs. Pull up an S&P 500 chart. Look at the housing prices out there. Over the years, they have gone up. So if your money is in cash, and I'm showing you, telling you, Google it yourself, research it yourself, right? You have your money in cash sitting there over 10 years. Is that same cash, that amount, let's say you've got $1 million there, is that same $1 million going to buy you the same amount of goods and services 10, 20, 30, 40 years down the road? The answer is no. It's not going to do that. So what do you do? What do you keep up? How do you keep up with prices moving up, right? How do you keep up with asset prices moving up, with inflation, with things getting more costly, right? Education, tuition, right? You want to go to school. It's more expensive today than it was before, right? You want to buy a home. It's more expensive today than it was 10 years back. And it's not going to correct itself. You're not going to get this, maybe there might be a big financial world reset or whatever, but the point is you're not going to get the same value that you got 10 years, 20 years back. So how do you cope with this? You stay invested. You have your cash that's sitting there, not sit there, you make it work. You invest in real estate, you invest in stocks, you invest in assets that appreciate, because when the salary you get, the money you get, it's trash right away when you get this, and you keep it in a bank and you save it, right? Of course, you need to have savings. You need that emergency fund. Again, I'm not a financial advisor, financial planner. I'll always consult with one who's registered. But the concept I want to tell you is that when you keep the cash sitting there, it's deteriorating, it's not doing anything. So what must you do? You must put that to work. Now, I don't know how to put it to work. I don't know what to invest in. I don't know, how to do this. Well, sure, you can go get an advisor to help you out. Or number two, educate yourself. Right? The best investment, right? No matter what has happened, I'm worried about losses, right? Losses is part of the game. If you're worried about losses, you're not going to make money in this game. You're going to learn from them. And how do you learn from them? Is being educated by putting your skin in the game, right? You're going to make mistakes. It's going to happen. So big deal, right? It's part of life. That's the fun part. The fun part is going through those ups and downs, the challenges, trying to figure out what to do, how to get out of a certain situation, and so on, right? At the end of the day, it's not going to make a difference because you're not going to take this money with you. But you need to make sure that you're educated on it so that you can grow with the time, so that this is money that you can pass on to your children and the future generation as well. Because again, the haves and the have-nots. Now, what do I mean by haves and have-nots, right? The haves are going to be the people that own the stocks, the real estates, the assets, right? So those, like I told you, over the 10, 20, 50 years, just go pull up a chart, right? Over the 50 years, they've gone up in value. So that's the haves. The haves will be able to cope up with inflation, with asset price inflation. But the have-nots, this is the sad part, the have-nots that are keeping their money only in cash, not investing because it's too risky or because, there's too much debt that the government has accumulated, right? And that's a very silly comment, right? To say that there's too much debt, so I'm not investing. The only reason to invest is because of debt. If there wasn't any debt, you would not see asset price inflation. You would not see real estate prices go up. You would not see stock market go up. It is the reason. The reason is because of debt. So you need debt. And they are going to continue to accumulate debt. That debt amount that the government has is never, ever, ever going to go to zero. Okay? It's going to accumulate. It's going to accumulate. There might be some dips, but then they'll pick back up again. Right? and they will accumulate and accumulate and accumulate more debt and pump this money on the next crash. Guess what they're going to do? Pump more money. That means the value of cash is going to deteriorate. It's going to get worse off. And yes, you're hearing it from Blackstone, starting a fund of $30 billion, people holding cash. Those people are going to go take out their cash that they have on the side and invest so that they're part of the haves. Now, the have-nots are going to be in trouble because if they don't have the cash, they're not invested, they're not doing something, right? Whether it's real estate, stocks, whatever it is in terms of investment asset prices. If they're not invested and they have cash, then it's going to get worse off. Things are going to be more expensive for them. Cash is going to deteriorate. And then that's where you could possibly see this UBI, Universal Basic Income, because the gap is going to get worse and worse, that it's going to cause the have-nots to go on riots. It's going to cause, crime to go up. It's going to create a lot of pain for people, which then would bring in this UBI concept, Universal Basic Income. This also government crypto coin saying that, okay, don't worry, we are going to give you a paycheck. You take this for your living and then just stay quiet. But I don't want you to fall in that, right? You don't want to be in that era, in that group, because it's not going to solve anything, right? They can give you as much stimulus checks you want, but if they keep doing that, guess what? Just like in 2020 when they gave stimulus check and they printed, things are going to even get expensive again. It's going to get worse off, and it's going to be difficult. So how do you cope with the times? How do you, end up being with the haves? Is that prepare yourself, educate yourself, be prepared. If you have to, look around your house. You've got junk, sell it, accumulate some cash, pay off the debt. Look for opportunities to invest in when the time is right, when the crash happens. Get help from a registered investment planner, financial advisor, so on, right? Learn, educate yourself, and be prepared. If you're prepared, then yes, you will not be scared. And if you're prepared, you'll be ready to take advantage of opportunities. You'll be in the haves rather than the have-nots. And, this is not, again, a video to get you, into fear mode and to get you to start, going in a negative mindset. It's to more motivate you, to get you in the positive mindset, to be again prepared. So let me know what you guys think. Are you guys doing anything to be prepared for this crash? Is there something interesting that you're looking at in terms of opportunities of investment, something that you're doing as a side hustle, business, flipping, let's say, products? It could be, or starting an e-commerce store. Curious to hear what you guys are doing. Are you doing garage sailing, etc., etc.? Be interesting to hear what you guys have going on and how it can help the other community members as well. So leave a comment below, subscribe, hit the bell icon and the like button, and I'll see you guys around. Cheers. Bye.